Myoho Renge Kyo. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Hi, how are you this morning? I hope that you're in good health and in good circumstance. I've been asked over time, and this comes up every now and again. And I remember early in my practice, I wondered about this as well. Is it more efficient? Would it be more efficient? Would it be more direct? Would it be more to learn the language of Prakrit, the languages of Prakrit, or just simply Sanskrit, and then read, recite, chant in its original language? Wouldn't that make sense? Wouldn't that be closer to Shakyamuni's teachings, truth, the essence, blah, 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 blah. But, if you study Nichiren, and I don't think it takes all that much study, because Nichiren talks about this a lot. In fact, I collected several of his gosho specifically related to the Daimoku. And I have a book, a collection, Nichiren on, or the profound meaning of the Daimoku, right? Just like I have a collection of his goshos where he talks specifically about the mandala versus the gohanzon, right? And his letters to women. Anyway, you can look in the bookstore and you can see all of these. What Nichiren did for us in this age, this era, this age of Mappo, this latter day of the law, however you know this age to be, it is distinctly a time, and the people of this time have a broad, though it may seem, a much more evolved capacity to understand than did those people of 3,000 years ago, 2,000, 1,000 years ago. Nichiren's teaching, per Shakyamuni, is the teaching suited to our present capacity in this time. Let's take it a step further. Nichiren says that the dharani contained in the Daimoku, the title, Myoho Renge Kyo, of the teaching itself, is the invocation not only of the teaching, but the Dharma, the experience of what the teaching is teaching. Not only does the Daimoku contain within it, as a way of looking at it, all of the 69,384 characters of the Lotus Sutra, but each of the characters of the Lotus Sutra, and therefore the Daimoku, contains within them all of Shakyamuni's teachings. And that's not of a particular dialect or language or translation. That's an empirical statement. When we chant the Daimoku, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, we invoke in our energy, our freight train of karma, our mind, our ninth consciousness, the totality of the experience of the cosmos. The Tathagata-ness instantiates within us so that in our physical form, we can experience Buddha. That's not privy to a specific tongue or language, right? Languages are creations. Experience is experience. So, back to Buddhism reference. The helpful manual, hopefully helpful manual that I created to help you in your modern study of Shakyamuni's Lotus Sutra, per Nichiren's insights, yes? So the term we're pursuing today is SadDharmaPundarikaSutra. And you've probably heard this. This is the Sanskrit name or Pali name, that variations on the languages, yes? But SadDharmaPundarikaSutra is the Lotus Sutra. And so let's read a little bit about it, see what different Buddhologists say about it. And yes, they will have their religious biases in here. Even though they're scholars, they can't escape their upbringing. They could, but if they were Buddhist, they could. But these are academics. So they'll study Buddhism their whole life without practicing it, and they'll shoehorn into it their language foibles, what they think they know, because they think of everything as a mystical, magical thing. Don't spite them for it. Just recognize that it doesn't really fit. So, the Lotus Sutra, Sanskrit, SadDharmaPundarikaSutra. The Sutra on the White Lotus of the True Dharma. In Chinese, is one of the most influential and venerated Buddhist Mahayana sutras. It is the main scripture on which the Tendai in China, Tendai in Japan, Chontai, I believe that's Korea, and Nichiren schools of Buddhism were established. Right? Nichiren is our modern mentor with insights and facilitating the proper understanding and practice of the teaching of the Lotus, yes? It is also influential for other East Asian Buddhist schools, such as Zen. What do you know? According to the British Buddhologist Paul Williams, quote, for many Buddhists in East Asia, since early times, the Lotus Sutra contains the final teaching of Shakyamuni Buddha, complete and sufficient for salvation. Salvation. See, that's Church of England right there. Liberation, of course, right? It's in the Four Noble Truths. The American Buddhologist Donald S. Lopez, Jr. writes that the Lotus Sutra, quote, is arguably the most famous of all Buddhist texts, presenting a radical revision of both the Buddhist path and of the person of the Buddha, end quote. Rather than a revision, I would say, the Lotus is academically recognized as a reformation to recenter the teachings of Shakyamuni on the true objective of enlightenment for all living beings as a universal and easily attainable truth to live this life in our current form in the full potential of our experience, right? Free of the encumbrances of our illusions of permanence and possessions that precipitate anxieties and stress. Nirvana, right? Two central teachings of the Lotus Sutra have been very influential for Mahayana Buddhism. The first is the doctrine of the one vehicle. There's the one way to do this, to enlighten and enliven your Buddha experience. This is the one great vehicle, yes? Which says that all Buddhist paths and practices lead to Buddhahood, or the experience of Buddha. And so they are all merely skillful means of reaching Buddhahood. The second is that the idea of the lifespan of the Buddha is immeasurable and that therefore he did not really pass on into final nirvana. He only appeared to do so as upaya, but is still active teaching the Dharma through us, right? Because Buddha is this state of experience, experience. I was going to say knowing, but knowing, again, we think of knowledge as something we possess rather than something we experience. See, it's moment to moment to moment. The moment we think we possess something, we permanentize it, we cling to it because it's in the past. Knowing is a verb, right? The title. Sanskrit manuscripts of the Lotus Sutra in South Turkestan, Brahmi script. The Japanese title of the Lotus Sutra Daimoku depicted in a stone inscription. The earliest known Sanskrit title for the sutra is the SadDharmaPundarikaSutra, which can be translated as, quote, the scripture of the lotus blossom of the fine Dharma, end quote, or, quote, the discourse on the white lotus of the true doctrine, end quote. In English, the shortened form, Lotus Sutra, is more common, right? Translations of this title into Asian languages include the following, but not limited to, right? In Chinese, Miao Fa Lin Hua Jing. This is the title of Kumarajiva's Chinese translation. The characters mean Miao, subtle, Fa, Dharma, Yan, lotus, Hua, exalted, and Jing, Sutra. Shortened title in Chinese is Fa Hua Jing, the Dharma Exalted Sutra. The title of Dharmaraksa's Chinese translation is, in Chinese, Jing Fa Hua Jing, the true Dharma Exalted Sutra. It's all saying the same thing. In Japanese, romanized Myoho Renge Kyo. Right? The short version, Hokkekyo. In Korean, Myobyop Hyonhwa Jeyong, or the Bohwa Jingyong. Apologies for my pronunciation. In Tibetan, Damchos Padma Dakar Poi Mdo. That's in Wylie and THL. I don't know what that is. It's a Tibetan high language, I'm not sure. Damcho Pema Karipoi Do. In Vietnamese, I know I'm going to butcher this. Dieu Phap Bien Hoa Kin, or the short version, Phap Hoa Kin. In Tangut, Thio Tse Face Le Diwi Rie. According to Donald S. Lopez Jr., the Pundarika, the white lotus, is, quote, a symbol of particular purity in Indian literature, end quote. While the term SadDharma, true doctrine, I would say true experience, but is, quote, used to distinguish the Lotus Sutra from all other previous teachings of the Buddha, end quote. The lotus flower imagery is also said to point to the earthly connection of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, right? The connection being that analogy you hear all the time of the lotus growing in a muddy swamp, this beautiful flower expressing its seed at the same time it blossoms. All of that imagery is about the mind. There's the human mind, this physical human mind emergent from this elaborate mechanism of a body, which is driven largely by the samsaric mind, the muddy swamp. But springing from it the Gohonzon mind, opens the door, opens the eyelid of Buddha experience. And that is the blossoming and the seeding at the same time, yes? Myoho Renge Kyo. The lotus is rooted in the earthly mud and yet flowers above the water in the open air, just like the bodhisattvas live in the world but remains unstained by it. Yeah? Bodhisattva Nichiren regarded the title as the summary of the Lotus Sutra's teachings, Siddharani. The chanting of the title is the essential practice he advocated during his lifetime. The chanting being the invocation of that very Dharma. All right. Well, by no means comprehensive. Hopefully, this reference, few paragraphs on SadDharmaPundarikaSutra, helps to coalesce your thoughts about the Lotus Sutra or lead to further research to your need. But I hope this provided some insight and some understanding. Yeah. In the meantime, I'll end once again with a little blurb on your support, which is critical to our unmonetized channel. Not only for this channel, but for the website, the bookstore, all of the work that I do to help you strengthen your practice. And in order to strengthen your practice, you've got to take care of your health, right? Keep your practice strong. If you find yourself rattled, slow down. Savor each chant, each syllable. If you're not sure why, I have little helpful cheat sheets on the website, right? That'll help you put some thoughts to each character. Not that you have to keep those thoughts, but that they help you to transition into, make you more confident in that you're not just mouthing words or chanting for, singing a song, that you're actually, there's intent behind your daimoku. That's very important. Nichiren talks about this all the time, yes? Conviction, resolve. He even says that if you have enough resolve, enough confidence in your daimoku, in your practice, that alone will awaken or open your Buddha eye, right? Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for your practice, your diligence, and your support, right? Take care of your health, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Hi, everyone. I hope you'll indulge me just a couple of moments here of your time to make a quick announcement. As you know, I've worked over decades and over the last decade building this channel with thousands of videos of lessons and insights and instruction. And I have a website to match it with lots of free information. There's free podcasts. There's the bookstore. There's the mandala store. The whole mission here is to support your practice and build your confidence daily for manifesting your maximum potential. Yes? In that regard, I decided recently to demonetize my videos because, quite frankly, how can you pay attention and focus and be motivated to practice Buddhism when you're constantly being barraged by commercials? So, no more, right? Although it wasn't, because of the size of our Sangha and the way YouTube works now, it's not nearly as supportive as it used to be. So that's another reason to why bother, right? But YouTube has come up with another way to help support, and I thought I would give it a try and see if it's not obtrusive, and see if you guys would participate or enjoy this avenue towards supporting the Sangha and all these resources. And that is a join button. And so you'll see that really soon. It'll pop up. And when you join, there's 4 different levels of joining, whatever. And, by simply being here, you're part of the Sangha. You don't have to pay a membership fee or any of that. This is just an option. And as a thank you for committing to a donation, a regular donation, I will send you a PDF copy of, depending on the level, 1, 2, 3, 5 books. And that could include a TIFF or a PDF high resolution of a Nichiren inscribed mandala, but also the liturgy, the Gango book, Buddhism reference, my annotated Threefold Lotus Dharma Sutra book. They're all listed in the join. So take a look, take a moment, click the button and see what's on offer. And if it works for you, we would be eternally grateful. We would be very grateful for the support to keep things going here. Okay? That's all I wanted to say. And thank you, as always, for your support, just being here, liking and subscribing. And if you're already buying ebooks and purchasing other books, you're part of the Sangha and you're supporting. So thank you for that, right? But look for that join button, right? Just check it out, see if it works for you. If I don't get much action on it, well, I'll discontinue it. But at least it's not interrupting every darn video, is it? So, so it's just another way for you to participate in keeping us afloat. Thanks again. Namo Myo Renge Kyo. Enjoy the video.